It's time to watch some playoff football. I'm Steven Means, that's Stefan Krajisnik, and that's Andrew Gillis. Ohio State hosting its first ever college football playoff game and first ever football game inside of Ohio Stadium in December when they take on Tennessee on Saturday night, 8 p.m. inside the shoe. Ohio State is 7.5-point favorite. Stefan, the moment has come. What's your game score?
Yes, after 2.5, 3 weeks of talking about this game, and maybe even a little bit more, because going into championship week, we were like, I think it's going to be Tennessee and Ohio State, the 8-9 game. So we've known this even before it was officially announced. So we finally get to make our picks. Thought about it for 3 weeks, probably been overthinking it at some point. I'm going Ohio State 28, Tennessee 17. I think that's a cover for Ohio State, and that's barely an under. I think this Tennessee offense is going to struggle to move the ball consistently, and I think they're going to be put in some spots where they probably have to settle for a field goal. And I think this Ohio State team is going to play the opposite, where they're going to be aggressive, they're going to throw it around, they're going to go for it. Maybe there's a turnover and downs at some point on there, and that keeps them from getting to 35 points instead of 28. But I think they're going to be aggressive. I think we're going to see a totally different mentality from this coaching staff compared to how they approached the Michigan game. And as long as the players are ready to go and moved on from that Michigan game, I'm confident this Ohio State team will be able to bounce back. And I'm more confident in Ohio State's offense, too, to be able to bounce back than for Tennessee's offense to come out and have, a spectacular performance against this defense. I think Chip Kelly can do enough to scheme around some of the offensive line issues that Ohio State has. So 28-17, my final. Ohio State wins.
28-17. Under and a cover for Ohio State. You feel good about that pick? You feel nervous about it?
Not really.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Andrew, what's your game score?
Yeah, I don't know if any of us have hit the money, hit it right on the money this year. I don't know if that's even happened. I don't even know if it's happened at Buckeyes.
Even I were both kind of on the money for Ohio State, Indiana.
Yeah.
You just accounted for the garbage time touchdown that Ohio State had. I did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty similar to Stefan. I'm going 28-20. I think Ohio State covers. I think we go slightly over, but I do think Tennessee's going to throw their absolute best punch here, right? I don't think that can be kind of understated. I really look at Tennessee and I see a defense that is probably rip roaring ready to go. I mean, imagine sitting in Tennessee's defensive line film room this week, sitting there watching Ohio State, Michigan, going, we can get after these guys. We can beat up these guys. And I think Tennessee's defense is going to have some stuff to try and make it confusing for Will Howard, because these teams aren't stupid, and Tennessee probably knows that Ohio State is not going to just run the ball up the middle of the whole game again, right? They know that they're probably not going to try and establish a run, that they might try to lean into a passing game, especially with the way the Michigan game went. So I think Tennessee's going to try to make things confusing for Will Howard. I think they're going to try to make things confusing for everybody, because if you're Tennessee, you got to be sitting there going, we just need James Pierce against Josh Fryer for X amount of seconds. We just need 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and we're getting a sack. So if you can make Will Howard have to look off his first or second read, or it takes him a half a second because he doesn't see the look that he's used to, something like that, I think is going to be really, really important for Ohio State. I just think that the Buckeyes just have a little bit too much talent offensively for Tennessee to keep up. This kind of strikes me as a game where, both teams kind of throw haymakers early, both teams throw punches early, and then just in the second half, Ohio State just kind of keeps them at arm's length. I don't think we're going to be at a situation, I said 2020, I don't think we're at a situation where it's 28-3 and then Tennessee gets some garbage points and really kind of makes this one look closer than it is. I think this is going to be pretty much a one-score game throughout. I think it's going to be a lot of nervous Ohio State fans kind of worried about where this game is going. But Tennessee's a good football team. I just think Ohio State's going to be a little bit better, and I think that they're going to be a little bit more prepared. Playing at home matters, and I think that Ohio State's going to win.
If Ohio State gives up 20 points to Tennessee, they'll be just the third team in the last 2 years to score 20 or more points on Ohio State's defense.
It's a good
the other one, the other two, one won the national championship last year, and the other one is the only undefeated team in college football right now. So that's a tough bar. And I don't think Tennessee's as good as last year's Michigan's team. And I definitely don't think they're as good as Oregon's team. Ohio State has a Michigan problem, and I feel like we're applying that to everybody else. When we've all made the joke over the last 3 weeks here that I think you like Ohio State's, whether you actually would pick them or not to win the game, I think you like Ohio State's chances against anybody in the country who isn't wearing maize and blue and winged helmets. Because that's a mental block as much as it is just a X's and O's thing. And I think the way that this past year's game played out is validation of that. It's not just, oh, Michigan is good. Oh, Michigan has Connor Stallions. Oh, other things. No. Ohio State has got Michigan in its head, and the Wolverines have been living rent-free. None of that applies to anybody they're going to face the rest of the season. So let's take the Michigan out of it. And how do we think about Ohio State? Well, up until the Michigan game, we thought they were at worst the second best team in the country, who lost to the number one team in the country by 1 point. So why does that have to change if the only team that has an extra thing against them isn't in the field anymore? So it's given me this, Andrew. I think you said something important, and I'm taking the longest way possible to get to my game score. I know. You said that Tennessee, you believe they're going to throw their best punch. I do too. I think it's going to be at some point in the first half, Tennessee is going to throw a punch that's like, man, this is a really good football team. I'm glad we expanded this thing to 12 teams so a team like this could get a chance. We've all seen Marvel movies, and I just see Ohio State going all that for a drop of blood in the grand scheme of things. And it's not anything against Tennessee. I think this is a really good football team. I think Nico Iamaleava is a very good quarterback with a lot of upside. I think James Pierce, that dude's everything they say he is. I don't think he's better than Abdul Carter, but I think he is. That kid's amazing. Ohio State's just better. And that's my analysis. I just think Ohio State's a better football team when I look at them. And now they're an angry football team who is also desperate. And that's a scary place to be when you are angry and you are desperate. So I'm going 27-13 is my score. I've been saying all week on different platforms, I think that's the magic number. Whoever can get to 24 to 27 points wins this game. I think Tennessee throws a haymaker in a way that they might get a knockdown. And it's like, whoa, Tennessee's a really good football team. And then it goes, oh, yeah, this is why we thought Ohio State was the second best team in the country up until a couple of weeks ago. And I think Tennessee can take advantage of the fact that Ohio State's offensive line is compromised. And again, Tennessee's a very good football team. I keep saying that when I'm picking Ohio State to win by 14 points. I know that. But I just, angry, desperate, at home versus young, talented, but not quite there yet, screams 14-point win, even if it feels like the game is being played in a 3 to 10 point radius all night. I think the way we thought about Ohio State after they lost to Georgia in 2022, I think we'll have that same level of respect for Tennessee after Saturday's game, even in a loss. I think it is a huge step in the right direction for Josh Heupel and his program. So Tennessee fans, do not yell at me anymore. I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. I have too many fan bases yelling at me right now. Those are our game scores. We have 3 covers, 2 unders, and Andrew, you were 28 plus. That's over. I'm not great at
that. That is over.
So, yeah, three covers, 2 unders, and 1 over. Ohio State, Tennessee on Saturday. College football playoff, baby! If you're watching this on YouTube, go check out our full podcast, wherever you find podcasts. Go listen to Buckeye Talk and get the text, 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. For Stefan Krajisnik and for Andrew Gillis, I'm Stephen Means, and that was Buckeye Talk.